But first, an hours-long standoff between a group of militants and Russian police in Russia's restive North Caucasus Republic of Dagestan, seemingly over. All 5 gunmen believed to have been killed. One of them known to have been involved in the deadly terror attack in the city of Volgograd last month. RT's Tabang Mansay joins us live now with all the latest details. So some very dramatic events happening in the North Caucasus area. Tell us more of the details, please.
Absolutely, Matt. Very dramatic, like you just said. Several militants were surrounded by anti-terror police officer near a village near Makachkala. Now, these terror suspects are believed to have been involved in a Makachkala ring that is involved in several criminal cases involving terror. Now, before the siege went through, before this entire gunfire between militants and the police went through, there's a child and a woman who were found in that house and who were released by the militants themselves. The child and mother were believed to be one of the wives of the suspects who was in that house. Once those two were released, the shootout began between these militants as well as the police. We know that all 5 of them have now been shot dead. Now, this brings us back to the main person who was actually being looked for by the investigators, who was Dmitry Sokolov. He was the man that led the police to that house where these militants have been hiding out.
So tell us more about this man and why have the police been on the hunt for him?
Well, Dmitry Sokolov is said to be the mastermind behind the Volgograd October 21st self-suicide attack, explosion by Nadia Akialova. Now, it is said that during the siege with the police near that village in Makachkala, his mother was called in to speak to him and ask him to surrender himself. He then confessed and said that he actually was the person behind putting together the bombs as well as the decision to go targeting that bus in Volgograd. Now, we know that October 21st, that self-explosion was committed by Nadia Akailova, who was said to have recruited him at the age of 21 and introduced him to radical Islamism. 6 people died in that bus ride in Volgograd. We saw footage where the people driving behind the bus said that an explosion went off, and it was only when they started to see people coming out of the windows that they realized that this is much bigger than what it was. 30 more people were injured from that blast. And police said right then during that investigation that they knew that this was a part of a much bigger ring and a much bigger terror group. They initially had thought that the target was Volgograd, but it turns out that the target actually was going to be here in Moscow. They then followed Sokolov up until now with the investigation, and he has now come out and confessed and said that he was indeed the mastermind behind it. So very dramatic scenes happening out today. Terror suspects and militants found, killed. It will be interesting to see how this chapter, especially to the people in Volgograd, how if we can in some way give them some kind of closure to what happened on October 21st.
All right, RT's Tabang Mansay, thanks very much for that update.